it definitely takes top honors, cleaning up after an extensive home renovation comes in at a close second. A few years ago, my husband and I were itching to move. With 2 kids and 2 cats, we had outgrown our 3-bedroom, 1.5-bath, 1950s starter house, and to be perfectly honest, I was secretly plotting for years to find the Center Hall Colonial of our dreams. After combing through the New York Times real estate section, we happened upon a house a few blocks away that was for sale by owner, and when we checked it out, it was love at first sight. Even though the house was missing a garage, you had to walk through the master bedroom to get to the nursery, and there seemed to be a distinct musty smell that followed us as we took a tour of the ground floor and basement. I was ready to pack my bags and move into that picturesque 1930s colonial. Meanwhile, in the span of one weekend, we spruced up our starter home, placed a for sale by owner ad in the paper, and managed to land a buyer within a few days. But not so fast. Just as we were riding high, thinking we were well on our way to our second home, the first owner got cold feet, and the couple who wanted to buy our place tried to renegotiate. Unbeknownst to us, their deal-seeking father-in-law trailed the home inspector, thinking he'd be able to shave a few $1,000s off the asking price once the inspection report revealed we had to replace our 50-year-old boiler and a portion of the roof. As he inspected the foundation while simultaneously nodding his head in disgust, I gave that man the nastiest look I could muster while shooting him a telepathic warning. "Back off, Bob Vila." So there we were, sitting in our den, annoyed that a meddling in-law was throwing a monkey wrench into our plans, when our neighbor invited us over to take a look at their home renovation. Since we had the same style house as theirs, we were curious to see how we could transform our place without ever having to pack our bags. When we stepped inside the front door, we were completely blown away. My eyes were blinded by the gleaming granite countertops, Viking stove, and cherrywood cabinets in their expansive kitchen. Their 3 bedrooms were turned into 5. The cozy family room now included a gas fireplace with a mahogany mantel, and the bathrooms had the most gorgeous basket weave marble tile I had ever set my sights on. From that moment forward, we decided we were going to get ourselves an architect and perform our very own extreme home makeover on our 1950s Robin Laura Petrie split. Since I like doing things at warp speed, I instantly found the perfect architect who incorporated all the design ideas I had given him after eavesdropping on prospective buyers at our open house who had complained the dining room, this is true, was too small and there weren't enough bathrooms or closets. So we decided we were going to expand the dining room, add a sunroom and mudroom, knock down our 1-car garage to make room for 2, and build the master suite of our dreams. Lucky for us, one of the best contractors in our neighborhood was set to begin construction on our neighbor's house across the street. So we made a deal to have him start work on our house immediately after they finished their work. Before we knew it, Lars Jackson and his crew of merry construction men moved the portisan over to our lawn, and 12 workers, who soon became my fast friends, stepped inside and began to dismantle our house. Most sane people who add 1,200 square feet to their homes usually move out for a few months to spare themselves the aggravation of being surrounded by dirt, debris, dust, and destruction, but not the Feldmans. As part of my day job as a mom blogger and parenting expert, I've been fortunate enough to work with Swiffer, so when it comes to cleaning, I know just what it takes to get the job done. Armed with a Swiffer wet jet and a caseload of antibacterial cleaning solution, I was ready to tackle anything the construction crew threw my way. Knock down my 1-car garage and my favorite lilac bush? No problem. Rip through walls and tear down a staircase so you can build a new one? Piece of cake. Bang incessantly from 7:30 a.m. until 5 as I try to listen in on a conference call? That's what the mute button is for. No matter what construction curveball they threw at me, I was ready for anything. Until the drywall commenced. You see, the funny thing about a home renovation is that the demolition only takes a few days. Then they frame the rooms, start laying down floors, install plumbing and electrical, and the remaining jobs that seem to last an eternity and drive you to drink heavily is the sheetrock, painting, and tile work. Let's start with the drywall. When we started our renovation, people kept warning me about that part of the project. With ominous voices, they'd warn, just wait for the sheetrock. Cavalier about the whole construction process, I'd shrug and say, oh, it'll be fine. We've handled it pretty well so far. How bad could sheetrocking be anyway? Famous last words. The problem with drywall is that once it's hammered into that wood frame and you hire a painter to sand it down and get it primed and ready for your palette of Benjamin Moore country colonials, you're already of the mindset that your project is almost finished. Except it's not. In fact, when you're on the construction locomotive and they install new walls in your home, as much as you want to jump off that train, you can't. And so you're subjected to sanding, a process by which tiny particles of dust fill the room and swirls above your head. Within seconds, those swirls land on everything in its wake, including your entertainment center that was only partially covered in sheets, your brand new hardwood floors, your 2 cats, and your unsuspecting kids. Before we knew it, our home resembled a scene right out of White Christmas, except it was July and we were Jewish. I know it needed to be cleaned, but I didn't even know where to start. I spent the better part of my evening swiffering like a mad woman, and I have to admit, part of me never thought we would be able to enjoy the television again, or walk barefoot on our once gleaming hardwood floors. After wiping down the floors and climbing precariously onto one of my couches to reach the top of my uncovered entertainment center, I threw my 2 kids into a bath, watched the cats lick dust out of their fur, and thankfully we had survived our bout with drywall, but weren't out of the woods just yet. One of the most exciting parts of my renovation was the master bathroom suite I conjured up in my mind after visiting several incredible hotel boudoirs and stealing some design tips along the way. I spent the better part of my summer visiting tile stores throughout Westchester County. On my quest to find the perfect colors for my masterpiece, I managed to track down a reasonably priced pure white Thasos marble tile at Ideal Tile in Yonkers, while I set my sight on mosaics that were on the other side of town at Artistic Tile in White Plains. Further complicating matters, I found my Celeste blue marble countertop at Marble America in New Rochelle. And then drove to Masterpiece Tile a few blocks away to pick out our mint green and Celeste blue chiclet mosaic tiles along with bullnose borders. Yes, I was insane, but I was a woman on a quest to create the perfect bathroom. During the summer of my final edition, I managed to not only befriend several construction workers, an electrician, and plumber who were all named John, but 2 friendly tile men named Wasim and Salam. As we chatted about world peace and the future of the Middle East, I managed to haggle and negotiate some pretty reasonable rates from my 2 favorite tile store owners. During one nerve-wracking afternoon, I even convinced Wasim to bullnose a few tiles on the spot when my temperamental tile man informed me we needed those tiles immediately, or else work on my bathroom would come to a grinding halt. And speaking of grinding halt, Gino, my tile guy, decided to take a 3-week sojourn to Italy, just as we were about to finish what I fondly referred to as the palace. Just as all my tiles were ready and waiting for Gino in my brand new 2-car garage, he had mysteriously disappeared. Of course, had we checked the passenger list on Alitalia, we would have known that Gino takes an annual summer trip with his family to southern Italy. As we begged Lars to send out a Sicilian search party for Gino, he calmed our frazzled nerves and assured us he'd return to finish the job. After his respite, Gino was in a zen-like state. With a cigarette stub dangling out of the corner of his mouth, he began laying tile as if he had been possessed by the spirit of Michelangelo. Perhaps Gino received some divine inspiration during that Italian vacation, but all I can say is that he created the bathroom to end all bathrooms. And to this day, when I take people upstairs to see the palace, it literally takes their breath away. As I now sit in my sunroom, reflecting on that hectic summer of sheetrock, I have to admit I'm so happy we never moved. Our little home was transformed into the split colonial of my dreams that I plan to enjoy for many years to come with my husband, kids, 2 cats, and now 2 hermit crabs. Just as I grew up in the same house where I was born, I'm looking forward to seeing my own children create lasting memories in a home filled with love, laughter, and countless bathroom tours.